Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU Audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Translation Studies and Training, SOTST. Master of Arts, Translation Studies, Maths, English. First year. MTT 010 Theories of Translation. Block 2 Ancient and Modern Western Theories of Translation. Unit 7 Modern Western Theories of Translation. 7.0 Objectives. After reading this unit, you will be able to know about various modern Western schools of translation, few thinkers of translation, major modern Western theories. 7.1 Introduction. Translation activities have been there from ancient period, but after the establishment of the International Federation of Translators, it got an importance from 1850. In the beginning of the expansion of translation activities was not noticed to a large extent, but gradually it started being adopted as an independent discipline and its importance was understood. Today, the purpose of translation has become all-round and multifaceted. As a medium of communication, today translation has become a social necessity. Translation serves as a means of communication between different language-speaking communities. Supporting Dr. Johnson's definition, F. Smith says, to translate is to change into another, retaining as much of the sense as one can. Malinowski underlined the socio-cultural importance of translation. Translation is one of the most complex activities in the cosmos, that is, translation is a complex process in the whole universe. In this way, different meanings and contexts of translation have been presented. Contemporary translation can be understood in two contexts. One, and its linguistic or linguistic perspective, and second, and social and cultural perspective. It was studied from linguistic point of view till 1950 and 1960, and then studied from social and cultural point of view in 1970s and 1980s. The tradition of translation in Western civilization begins with the translation of the Bible. Its ancient form is found in the Hebrew language. In the 3rd century, the Jews translated it into Greek. Sethi is the oldest translation of the Bible. This translation has literary significance. This translation influenced later translators. The Bible gave importance to Latin translations. In 382 CE, at the request of Thob-de-Messis, Sataram translated Babbat. This Latin translation was called Bugat, which was completed in 105 AD. The Authorized Vaman or Gijmesin Bible is considered to be an authentic and important translation of the Bible in English. Various translations of the Bible are considered to be of special importance in the Western translation tradition. Homer's work, OCI, was translated into a tract by Livius Atronicus in the 3rd century BC. Translations of Greek plays into Latin were introduced by the New C. Bede composed his book Ecclesiastical History in Latin language, which was translated by Alfred. In the Anglo-Saxon language, the work of Consultation of Philae, which was the famous work of Bess, was also translated by the academician Emperor. Translation proved to be a stepping stone in the tradition. In the medieval period, the number of people studying Greek literature was very less in Europe. This situation also affected translation. Arabic translators translated Aristotle's works. Aristotle's famous work Peri-Ipsukta is named after the translation of Peripoetics. In 1554, the Italian scholar Vello published it, on which the author's name was Digenusium Longinus. During the Renaissance, Homer's works were translated into Latin by Lypodius Pilates. German scholars also contributed significantly to the translation tradition. When Sabon was translated into German by Martin Luther, important changes took place in German language and literature. Shakespeare's plays were also translated into German in Schlagen. Indian ancient texts were translated into English and German by Max Muller. The Sacred Books of the East, edited by Max Muller, is an important achievement in translation. This book has been translated by various language-speaking translators and has been published in 50 volumes. In the field of translation, many organizations are working in foreign countries. Such organizations are active in Russia, Japan, Germany, and other countries. Science and technology became important after the Second World War. Linguistics and translation also started developing fastly. Gradually, a lot of changes were visible in the area of translation. At present, translation is not only considered as an art or a craft, but now it started getting importance as a science. Moreover, cultural aspects of translation are also given much importance after 1990. Scholars also accepted this as the practical side of the mixed method. All these facts provide a broad base to translation theories. Today, the theory of translation is not limited to translators, but in the Western context, their relation is similar to cultural discourse. 7.2 Different schools of modern Western theories of translation. Mainly 4 Western schools have considered to for their significant contribution in the formation of modern Western translation theories. 7.2.1 Prague School, 7.2.2 London School, 7.2.3 United States School, 7.2.4 School of Communications, 7.2.1 Prague School. Important translation theorists like Roman Jakobson, Levi, and Victoria are associated with this school. They emphasized on understanding and giving importance to linguistic translation on the basis of comprehension and on the basis of semantics, grammar, language, and style. An important theorist of this school was Lyumeniuk. He was born in Russia, then lived in the Czech Republic and moved to America during World War II. His famous work is On the Translation of Linguistics. In this work, the relationship between translation and language has been discussed from the point of view of language. After the publication of this work in 1959, there was a significant change in Western translation theories. Roman Jakobson tried to look at the linguistic text from the perspective of arrangement of semiotics. On this basis, he categorized translation as under 1. Intralingual translation, 2. Interlingual translation, 3. Intersemiotic translation. Intralingual translation is the transfer of the meaning expressed by one type of symbol system of a language to another symbol system of the same language. This translation presents the text of the same language in a different style in the same language. The same thing can be expressed in different ways within the same language. For example, Charles Lou expressed Shakespeare's verse plays in English in prose. Here the language is the same, but the mode of style is different. Interlingual translation, meaning expressed by the symbol system of one language, is expressed by the symbol system of another language in interlingual translation. 2. Languages are required for interlingual translation. Therefore, it is mandatory for the translator to have good knowledge of both the languages. It is also important for the translator to have knowledge of the socio-cultural and linguistic structure of both the languages. While translating, the cultural aspects of the source language are transferred to the cultural aspects of the target language. In such a situation, the semiotic system of the source language is transferred to the semiotic system of the target language. Intersemiotic translation. There is a linguistic arrangement in this type of translation. There is a linguistic system for translation in this process. The transfer of meaning from the source language is undertaken through a linguistic medium, i.e., presentation of a story or poem through pictures, serial presentation or cinematography of the works of the authors is called intersemiotic translation. In such a translation, the real power of a symbol based on the relation between text and expression lies in its semiotics. Jacques Besson says that the meaning depends on the understanding of the translation. If there is no equivalent word is there in target language, then new words could be used which are similar to the meaning of the original. 7.2.2 London School. Fox of Faria is accepted as the founder of this school. He was a famous linguist. One of his articles, Linguistic and Translation, and the other, Linguistic Analysis and Translation, mainly deal with 3 points. The first translation covers on linguistic analysis. Second translation does not mean perfect translation, and third, there is no similarity at the level of expression in any two different languages, so translation is not possible from one language to another. Catford is a famous linguist of this school who taught at the University of Edinburgh and published the book A Linguistic Theory of Translation in 1965. After publication of this book, there was a new change and reaction in the field of translation theories. He propounded the theory of translation on the basis of hierarchical and class analysis of language. Under this theory, the whole interpretation of translation is based on the structure of the language. Catford, while distinguishing between free and literal translation, said that the link of language which can be translated on its corresponding categories, translation becomes indicative accordingly. According to his assumption, each language and especially the related languages in the translation process can be analyzed on the basis of rank shift and that can be reconciled at similar levels. Catford's statement is that translation is the replacement of textual material in one language, SL, by equivalent textual material in another language, TL, i.e., the replacement of the textual material of the source language by the equivalent textual material of the target language. In addition to phoneme, morpheme, grammar and word category, the substitution that takes place in translation down to the subtle levels of language has been done in detail in Linguistic Theory of Translation. He also discussed two limitations of translation. The problems of translation are on the basis of first grammatical variation and the second on linguistic level of different civilization and culture. 7.2.3 United States School. Chomsky is supposed to be the founder of this school. He studied linguistic structure by analyzing words and meanings. In the 1950s, it was replaced by the Jiaoji theory, which presented three positions on the language of translation. First, linguistic ability is innate and natural in humans being. The second, language is not bound by the rules. The third, language has an external and internal structure. In the context of translation, it is important to know the External and internal difference between different languages and their effects. 7.2.4 School of Communications. Neither is the founder of this school and he also represents this principle. Meaning and style are important in translation. Translation consists in producing in the receptor language the closest natural equivalent to the message of the source language, first in meaning and secondly in style. Here the word equivalent is used in the sense that the translation should have approximately the same sense in the target language as the original work has for the readers of the source language. This is what is called equivalent. It is also indicated here that it is not necessary that the expressions of the source language reflect receptor language or the target language. In fact, translation is such a linguistic process in which perfection is not essential, but the aim is to recreate the sense on the basis of equivalence. Neither has given two types of this equivalence: morphological and dynamical formative equivalence, which includes verbal, sense, and style. Dynamic equivalence is more important than functional equivalence. According to Neither, translation is a linguistic activity and its importance can be judged by its own process. There are three stages in this translation process: analysis, transfer, and restructuring. The translator first analyzes the message contained in the source language in clear and simple language forms, understands its meaning and transfers it at this level, and thereafter he restructures the message according to the nature of the target language. In the 1980s there was a change in Neither's translation principles, and according to the new proposition 1. Translation is not a science but a technology. 2. Translation can be created. 3. Translation is not only linguistic communication but also a symbol of social behavior. In fact, the Western theories of translation developed in the context of linguistics, comparative linguistics, applied linguistics, etc. These four schools have made an important contribution for the establishment of modern Western theories of translation. Peirce theory also becomes important in this context. First of all, Saussure of Geneva School presented the concept of semiotics. Saussure also wanted to define language as a system of symbols and tried to establish it as an approach to semiotics. 7.3 Thinkers of modern Western theories of translation. 7.3.1 Peirce. Peirce says that a sign is something that stands to somebody for something else in some respect or capacity. The word horse, either spoken or written, is not a horse itself. It is a symbolic linguistic object used for an object, horse, which is used by users to substitute a horse for an actual horse. In fact, there are 3 points in the concept of a symbol -1. The signified object, 2. Signified meaning, 3. The signified symbol. The signified object is the unit of the external word like ours. The signified meaning is the concept of a unit which is perceived by a person being a member of a linguistic society, and person constructs his sense of perception about that object. The signified symbol is the unit that gives expression to this word. A few points need to be noted here. The first is that the symbol does not have a direct relationship with the thing it signifies. For object, one has to pass through the path of signification. The basic nature of symbol is cognitive. Symbolism is not just an abstract concept of a material object, it is a social reality which is given by the society to the person regarding the symbolized object at the level of perception, in the formation of which history, social consciousness, and cultural values also contribute. It is necessary for the translator not to limit his sight only to the signified object while transferring this monthly symbol, but to accept the signification in its entirety and then transfer it. One thing becomes more important here, that the meaning is neither one-sided nor in the context of the symbol if the one-sided text is considered as a linguistic symbol. 7.3.2 Newmark. Newmark considers two directions of the translation process, and therefore he establishes the correlation between the original and the translated text at two levels. The first relationship is based on the intertextual translation of the two texts. Interpretive translation is translated word for word. This translation is also sometimes misleading because it lacks transparency. The second relation of translation is the understanding of the meaning of the text and the expression of higher meaning in the target language. Transparency remains high. For example, the sentence, "Judgment has been reserved," would be rendered by Anwar in the lot language itself as, "Judgment will be announced later on," keeping the message safe as much as possible. It has to reach from one language's structure and culture to another language's structure and style. For example, "One have four houses" will be translated as, "I have four members in my family." Translation, "I have four members of the family," would be wrong. The correct translation would be, "I have four members in my family." This is the language culture in which translation is being done according to Hindi language behavior. The last step is to create the text. Here the translator not only expresses the message in linguistic form, but he also creates a companion text keeping in mind the nature of the text in the original language. 7.3.3 André Lefebvre. In 1994, Susan Busnett and André Lefebvre edited a book, Constructing Cultures. It begins with Lefebvre's essay, Chinese and Western Thinking on Translation. In this essay, clarifying the difference between Chinese and Western translation in the historical and cultural perspective, the author believes that the culture itself which defines the translation has nothing to do with the language and only cultural elements are contained in it, such as cultural homogeneity and culture. This essay provides fresh ideas and deep insights. In this essay, the author looks at the similarities and dissimilarities between Chinese and Western traditions and cultures from the perspective of history and culture. There were two schools of translation of Buddhist sutras into Chinese, the Chen Wen school and the Zhi school. The translation of Buddhist scriptures was very attractive and full of Chinese philosophical ideas. In the Jin era, there was talk of faithfulness in translation in the West, and in fact translation should be done without any punishment. Kumarajiva, who was one of the four great translators who translated Buddhist scriptures, emphasized the importance of free translation and stressed that translation should not limit itself to the original. His translations were given importance by the contemporaries because this translation was important both from the point of view of language and text. He believes that translation in the Chinese and Western traditions began with oral interpretation rather than written, but over time the two turned in opposite directions. In the beginning, when Buddhist scriptures were translated into Chinese language, there was no written form of these scriptures at that time. The translation depended on the interpretation of the monks. In the Western tradition, translation was faithful, based on accuracy, emphasizing the difference between the two cultures and traditions. Ma Jianzhong also advocated loyalty to the origin. When he established the translation school, he also talked about the principle of equivalent translation. He says that when I have a book in my hand, I study it again and again and understand its meaning, study its circumstances, environment, and style. Then I get into translation. In such a situation, the reader reads or finds the translated text in the target language as if he is reading the original. In this way, various Western scholars expressed their views but could not establish any universal principle, though there has been a considerable effort to establish general principles of translation in European countries. It is known that even to people speaking the same language cannot express the message even after using the same vocabulary. Each person has his own way of expression. If this is the condition of two people who speak the same language, then the speakers of different languages may find this task even more difficult. If we study the structural arrangement of two different languages, then this difference is not only present at the grammatical level but also in the units of life. Somewhere translation is the transfer of meaning, somewhere it is basically interpretation, somewhere it is equivalent presentation, somewhere it is seen in cultural perspective, and somewhere it is presented through translation and semiotics. Therefore, on the basis of all the thinkers and ideas, some principles can be considered. 7.4 Major modern Western theories of translation. 7.4.1 Structural theory. This theory is the result of a systematic unraveling of the structure of language. Although, on the basis of different forms of linguistic structure, more or less differences are found in it. Example, Catford explained his theory only about the structure of language, but he talks about free translation while talking about different linguistic levels. Distinguishing between free and literal translation explains the process of translation. Basically, translation is based on linguistic analysis only. Apart from phonetics, morphemes, grammar, and vocabulary, different levels of language are discussed to replace linguistic microlevels. The form elements of translation are more important. Chomsky also gives importance to linguistic structure by analyzing words and meanings. The effect of this structural principle of Catford can also be seen at the practical level, and this principle can be used while preparing translators during translation training. 7.4.2 Semantic theory. While on the one hand, linguists were preparing tools for the subtle analysis of the structure of the language, on the other hand, the meaning of the language also started getting attention. The nature of the meaning started being discussed, and the meaning of the meaning also started to be discovered. There is a book, Meaning of Meaning, by Auden and Richardson, which discussions started about this idea. Linguistic expression refers to the practical context this new approach came. Traditional thinkers used to believe the meaning of linguistic expression on the basis of experience. There was a question here whether meaning can be seen apart from the expression or from the linguistic symbol. Those thinkers who believed that expression can be interpreted independently at some level, they argued in the context of translation that the meaning of a text is changed in the process of translation. Translation is the giving of another linguistic expression. Considering this concept as the relation between body and soul, some scholars have translated it as taking a soul out of its original body and entering into another body. On the contrary, Some thinkers believed that the linguistic symbol and its meaning cannot be separated. Each takes on meaning from its context, so a linguistic symbol can have many meanings. Those who believe in this view are of the opinion that in the process of translation, taking into account the contextual meaning of the linguistic symbols used in the original text, the same linguistic symbols should be selected in the other language system so that they make the same meaning in their linguistic context. Be able to give. Giving a new dimension to the language, Samuel Johnson said to translate is to change into another language preserving the sense. Peter Newmark states that the process of destruction of meaning varies a lot. Sometimes the meaning expands and sometimes the meaning shrinks. Leonard Foster's statement, goal of translation is the symbols and signs of the source language. There is a transfer in language. Therefore, it becomes clear that while retaining the meaning in translation, the transfer takes place in the target language. In the process of conveying the meaning, the translator should not transgress the boundaries of the author of the original work. 7.4.3 Principle of Equivalence. Transfer of a text of one language in the form of context is called translation. Three elements are taken care of in the process of translation. The first is the text composed in the source language, the second is the context composed in the target language, and the third is the translator who analyzes the text and interprets it, converts it from the target language and in the form of context. Then the question of reorganization arises whether the structure of the source language and the target language is identical. According to neither, translation is concerned with rendering first the meaning of the message of the source language and then the closest natural and equivalent production of the target illusion on the ground of style. It is clear from both the definitions that the basis of translation here is the principle of equivalence, whether it is equivalence of textual elements or on the ground of meaning and style. Literal translation. In this translation, the basis of equivalence is linguistic material. While translating, linguistic elements in the target language which are equivalent to the linguistic elements in the source language are selected. Like save skin, but it becomes ridiculous. The second one is valid like a bird's eye view, etc. Here the words, phrases and sentences of the original text are translated. Sense for sense translation. Here expression in the form of linguistic material is not emphasized as much as it is on expressive poetry. For example, when idioms and proverbs are translated, then instead of translating on the basis of word or phrase, keeping in mind the meaning of the idioms of the original text, the idioms of the target language expressing the equivalent meaning are selected. For example, killing two birds with one stone means targeting two persons' objects at a time. Genre to genre translation. In this translation, on the one hand, the style of language is talked about, and on the other hand, the basis of equivalence of different genres. Style can be used if poetry is translated into poetry and novel into novel, but sometimes poetry is also translated into prose. Functional translation. When a symbolic meaning is used, the equivalence of that meaning is sought in target language, which the text takes as action and sensation. For example, we can see the example of Agye's poem Ye Sweeney Hai Karmnasha Kirtinashapur Kal Pravahini, and that this clapping flow becomes a fund, dissolving and time-swallowing tide. Similarly, for the word owl, while reconstructing the interpreted text, one has to find the equivalent symbol available in the target language. 744 Theory of Relativity. This theory raises a new question in terms of the definition of translation, whether translation is transfer or substitution based on the principle of equivalence. The linguistic context of translation speaks of substitution rather than transfer. Two different languages present life and the world on the basis of their respective visions. Catford also says that in translation, there is a substitution of the meaning of the source language in the language, not its transfer. In fact, under transfer, the translation of the meaning of the source language into the target language is visible. In the context of proverbs, idioms, and sociocultural expressions, the substitution process is more visible than the transfer process. Theory of relativity indicates that each language organizes and expresses its world of experience in its own way. Linguists like Saussure, Sampir, Borf, etc., on the basis of comparative study of different language-speaking communities, concluded that each language gives different approach to understand the meaning. For example, if we consider the spectrum of colors as a physical fact, then a continuous flow of colors can be seen from one end to the other. But each language community divides these colors in its own way and names them. Saussure says that there is no natural division of sounds, colors, etc. Rather, each language-speaking community divides it in a random manner. The English and Hindi-speaking communities divide this spectrum into 7 colors, while the Nigerian Tei language divides it into only 3. This means that Nigerians can recognize all colors on the physical plane. But in the form of linguistic material, colors are divided into 3 colors only. Therefore, scholars of relativistic theory believe that in the process of translation, the linguistic characteristics of the source language text are not transferred to the text of the target language, but on the basis of the function of the source language. 7.4.5 Theory of Interpretation. The material composed in the source language is interpreted in the target language. Some Western scholars consider translation to be interpretation. Western scholar D.G. Rosary states that translation is perhaps the most direct form of commentary. Roman Jacobson considers translation to be the interpretation of literal symbols of one language by literal symbols of another language. According to James Holmes, all translation is critical interpretation. Neither also gives importance to the fact that there is some interpretation in every translation. Those who believe in this principle are of the opinion that in the context of literary translation, the translator interprets the meaning by transferring it. The translator interprets the object by converting the various sociocultural conditions, linguistic and grammatical structures, and aesthetic experiences into the target head. Ezra Pouch considers translation as literary revival. In such a way, while translating in the process of creation, the translator does something or the other. Something definitely explains. This is the reason why sometimes the same work is translated by 2 different translators, it is not the same. The basis of this difference is the interpretive ability of the translator. 7.4.6 Theory of Integration of Cultural Contexts. Language does not only have a linguistic perspective, but it also has its own cultural environment because language is born and nurtured in a particular society. Each language has its own cultural characteristics, converting them into another language is difficult because one culture is different from another. Translation acts as a bridge between the socio-cultural contexts existing in one language and the socio-cultural contexts contained in another language. Translation is thus not the transfer of a language but the transfer of cultures. The transfer of cultures plays an important role in translation on a global scale. Malinowski states that translation is the integration of cultural contexts. It also leads to the recreation of cultural contexts. 7.4.7 Principle of Recoding. According to this theory, translation is the first codification of the source language text and the subsequent reconstruction of the meaning in the target language text through codification. The meaning of the urine text is first analyzed, decoded, by means of Maya scientific tools. After this, the similarities and dissimilarities of Cheeth Maya and language are clarified by making a comparative study with the scientific method. This is followed by a reorganization of the form of the text through the codification of the received meaning. Linguist William Fright is a proponent of this theory. According to him, in this process of fragmentation, there are two codes called the matrix and the object code. The source language text is called the matrix and the target language text is called the target language. In the background of the message of the sender and the receiver, there is a code that is available both at the time of creation and at the time of receiving the text, and establishes codified contact. Neith and Malinowski also have an important contribution to the development of this theory. 7.5 Let us sum up. In conclusion, it can be said that although the tradition of translation has been going on since ancient times, it has started gaining importance as a profession in the modern era. It was also recognized as an independent mode in the modern era, where it was understood in another linguistic and linguistic perspective. On the other hand, its social and cultural perspective was also not neglected. In the era of science and technology, translation got further expansion. Recognition of machine translation as a craft and science of translation provided a broad base to its multifaceted dimensions. Mainly four ideologies played their part in the formation of modern Western translation theories. Ancient and modern Western translation theories. These are four different schools: Prague School, London School, United States School and School of Communication News. Roman Jakobson, Catford, need important contribution in communication of these different ideologies. Peirce, Newmark and Lefebvre also played an extensive role in the formation of translation theories. Roman Jakobson analyzed translation into interlinguistic, and intersymbolic forms. Catford and Neith discussed on the basis of equivalence. Lefebvre made some principles clarifying the social, cultural aspects of translation. Some general principles can be underlined on the basis of all these thinkers and ideologies, in which the discussion of the principles of structural, semantic, equivalence, relativity, and reconsolidation mainly provide a broad structure of translation. Thank you for watching. We will see